Good evening, everyone. This is the Finance Committee meeting for the San Benito CISD Board of Trustees. Today is Monday, April 2nd, 2018, and it's approximately 7:41. I'm going to call this meeting in order. Agenda item number 2, presentation from Paycheck Works.
Well, I'd like to thank everyone for having me here today. Like I said, I've never had a presentation in front of this many people. It's normally a CEO, CFO, and head of HR. So this is kind of a overwhelming situation. But I did leave everyone my business card there. So if you have any questions after this, feel free to email me. I can email me my pitch deck, my information, statistics, and things of that caliber. A little bit of history about my company. I have been doing employee purchasing programs since 1989. My first customer was Texas Instruments, small company up in Dallas. That's where I'm based out of. My second customer was American Airlines. My third one was Raytheon. My fourth one was Lockheed. My fifth one was Frito-Lay. So I've done business like this with a lot of big companies in the past. I actually had physical stores on their campuses where their employees could come in and buy my products. It would come out of their paycheck, but there's no interest, no credit check. It was just they always viewed it as an employee benefit that cost them nothing to offer their employees. Though it was very successful, 9/11 came along, kind of killed everything because of where they were located. My store at Lockheed was inside the plant where they built F-16s. That was not a very good thing to do after 9/11 because I couldn't get my products into the store because I'd have to go and actually restock the store once a month. After that happened, I found out that there was a big need for hospitals to have employee purchase programs. So I actually would go into hospitals and do a 2-day employee purchase program twice a year. I had 44 hospitals. I had MD Anderson, Parkland, Memorial Hermann, Cleveland Clinic in Cleveland, Ohio, Grady in Atlanta. So I was all over Texas, Arkansas, Louisiana, Alabama, Georgia, all over the country. 2 years ago, I decided that it was time to actually expand my product selection and to go after more basic products like bigger ticket items like refrigerators, appliances, TVs, computers, and things of that nature. So we developed an e-commerce website. We have 54,000 products on our website. We have somewhere around 85,000 employees that currently use this. The one that you probably recognize the most, the flight attendants for Southwest Airlines, are one of my customers. Boar's Head, the meat company out of Sarasota, Florida, will be one by the end of the week. We're real close to signing the New York Transit Authority. So we've got some really, and actually the state of South Carolina is also interested in putting this program in. So we have a lot of customers that we see that need this program. So what we actually do is we have found that 46% of the American workforce will have financial issues in their life. They live paycheck to paycheck. They have things come up, they can't afford it. We also find out that 46% of the people, that 23% of them will lose 1.5 hours of productivity a week worrying about finances. So if you put that to pencil and paper, if you have 10,000 employees, if that is correct, and this survey was done by PricewaterhouseCoopers, which is a pretty good company to get statistics from, that a company that has 10,000 employees loses $3.2 million a year in productivity. It's a huge number. So what our program actually does, we actually go into a company or school or whatever it might be. We will allow their employees to purchase products off our website. We will give them 6 months to pay it back. There's no interest, no credit check, no backup form of payment. We sell at MSRP. We're not Amazon Prime, but we're actually, like I explained to people, if you went to dinner tonight and you missed happy hour and you missed the special, that's what I am. I'm the $29 steak and the $5 cocktail. So, but I'll give you 6 months to pay for it. We set up a credit limit so people can't get crazy. It's 3% of their gross salary. So if someone makes $30,000 a year, they have a $900 revolving line of credit. They can buy and pay it down, buy and pay it down. What we've also found is in the last 2 years since we've been live, that people are using 67% of their available credit. So what that tells me is they're using it in a very conservative way. They're using it to buy their Christmas, their big ticket items, but they're also keeping a little reserve in case they buy some things and their TV goes out, or their refrigerator goes out, or their air conditioner, that they have enough room to buy that. We've also done statistics that we know that if someone actually maxed out their credit, that they actually have 11% of their pay is all they're using to buy these products. So it's kind of a nice business where you actually can go and help someone have a better quality of life and not take advantage of them and make a living off of it and provide a service to make them more productive. Any questions?
Yes, sir. I got a question for you, David, Mr. White. As far as your no interest, what's the maximum amount of months you can give? Or
6 is the model we use now. I'm not gonna say we can't go more. The reason we do it at 6 is because we don't want people to overspend. Now, I know for a fact that the longer you give, the more you buy, and that's not my model. My model has always been buy what you need, pay it back in a timely manner, and then when you need something else, buy it again. So I know if I give them longer, they may have a tendency to spend more money, and that's not my model. I mean, we try to carry basic stuff. We carry work boots, we carry work shoes, we're about to pick up scrubs for hospitals. So we try to bring more and more products that people use on a day-to-day basis. But the 6 months right now is kind of the format we go by. We have some companies that we're on a 3-month model with, and they love it. But 6 is kind of a thing because we're carrying that debt, we're carrying the bad debt. So what happens is, if someone buys something from me, the school district will have no liability. So if they sign a retail installment loan with me, gives me permission to submit a payment to the school district, comes out of the check. If they leave the school district employment, it's my responsibility to collect that money. So it's an insurance policy for the school district employees that doesn't cost you anything to put in place.
Okay, as far as the whole marketing aspect of it, how is that gonna, is that something that you?
We provide all the marketing materials. So if the best case scenario, if we have email addresses, we send out an email blast once a month. It's either a new product or don't forget Christmas is coming. You can go and start shipping for Christmas now. But we don't inundate them. So we'll do a mailer. We can do posters. Email's the best. So our penetration rates, we've proven this too, that if you put me into a company or a school district or whatever where their employees make between $20,000 and $60,000 a year, I will get about 15% penetration. And those employees will spend somewhere between $1,000 to $1,200 a year. So what it really doing, they're buying Christmas most of the time. They're buying their TVs, their refrigerators, their computers, things of that nature. But they're not getting crazy, but they're buying, it's reasonable payments is what it boils down to. It keeps them out of the rent to own, the payday lending, the check cashing. We have 2 clients that one of them is a food processing company up in Michigan. We put our program in. We found that the first year our program was in place, their 401 early withdrawals went down 5% in the first year. Now, I don't know if that's coincidental or not, but they seem to think that my program helped those early withdrawals go down. We also have another customer we put in place that they found that the people make between $20,000 and $30,000 a year, their turnover ratio went from 36% to 21% the first year that we had our program in. Coincidental or factor? I don't know, but it happened. So they think it's because of my program. So people are having more stickiness with their company because they have this little line of credit that can help them from day-to-day life.
Okay. Well, great. I think, it's a pretty interesting concept. To me, in my opinion, it does sound like a benefit. I don't have any more questions.
I have one, and just from observation, you said that you had a 6-month to pay back model, and our traditional teachers are maybe about 9 months, and most of our workforce is 9 months. Is that correct, Dr. Carmen?
They are, but they receive 12
They
paychecks.
receive
We
12?
annualize their pay, though. They're paid over
Okay.
12 months.
I would suggest somewhere in between the 9 and 6, perhaps even 8, would be comparable for our population. You'll have them, it's focus group
Right.
at a given time. During the summer, pretty much I'm assuming, I'm going back to my teacher days, I checked out. I checked out. So, just an observation.
Right. We have one school district. We don't have any in Texas yet. We're getting pretty close. Our biggest one right now is we have a charter school district in New Jersey. We've seen this, my model works a lot better in the east for some reason. I think the cost of living has a lot to do with it. Like I said, I'm on a plane tomorrow at 6 o'clock from here to Boston. We have a lot of business up in that area. But we never say no to anything. Like I said, it just so happens our model right now is 6 months. What we really like to do a lot of times is get the census of the people to see what their salaries are and then build the model around that. So I would never say we couldn't do it. I'd just say right now that we do 6 months. We can always tweak little things if we need to in the future to make things happen.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for your
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, let's move on to agenda item number 3, review and discussion of the RFP 0318 GIM, glass installation and materials district-wide.
Hello, we're ready for the item number 2? Yes, ma'am, I'm sorry. Okay. This review and discussion of the RFP, we went out for an RFP for glass installation and materials district-wide. This is to provide the district with a larger, some additional vendors that could do the glass installation, whether it be broken windows, automobiles, and also to include some of our local vendors in this process. So we're asking for agenda item to award this RFP.
Agenda item? Okay, let's move on to agenda item number 4. Review and discussion of the option to renew the CSP 0217 SI, the student / athletic insurance for an individual, for an additional 1-year period.
This is our student insurance for our athletics. It was bid out in 2017, 2016. It was for this year, and it was a competitive sealed proposal. We got the renewal rate, and they willing to keep the same rate that we currently have. They're happy with the services. It's an insurance that has zero base for the parents, and they have been very responsive, so we're asking to do a 1-year extension, and they will keep the same rates that we currently have.
Okay. So it went out in 2016, you said?
It was a bid for
Bid for 2016 for 17-18 school year.
Okay.
last summer.
Okay, what I'm gonna ask for, what I'm gonna go ahead and ask for, I'm gonna ask to take this out for bid, just for best practice to see if we can get some better rates.
Okay. We will do that, sir.
All right. Thank you. Let's move on to agenda item number 5, review and discussion of an aluminum 16 by 6 by 6 by 10 bumper pull trailer for ag science.
This item is to purchase, right off, this doesn't need to be an agenda item, we're bringing it for information. This is for the CAPE program, for the Career and Technology program. You have, before you have the specs, and it's to purchase a trailer for that program.
All right. Good.
Like I said, no agenda item needed, we just wanted to inform the board.
All right. Thank you. Let's move on to agenda item number 6. Excuse me, review and discussion of 27-inch iMac computers for the San Benito High School animation class.
This item does need agenda item. It's an $80,000 purchase, and this is those iMac computers that are specialty, high-running machines that are needed for this animation class. It will be purchased with the CAPE program funds.
Ma'am, so what are they using now?
We have Macs, if I may. We do have Macs,
Okay.
but they're already 5 years old.
Oh,
And they'll bring-
so we can't use them anywhere in the district, right? It's not,
They would still have some use, yes.
Okay.
The way we work is we simply, like our journalism class could
okay,
use them
awesome, okay,
at the high school. And
Great.
we would work with them and donate those over.
okay,
Yeah.
awesome. Thank you, sir, appreciate it.
Awesome.
Agenda item?
Yes.
Okay, let's move on to agenda item number 7. Discussion of employee health benefits plan and voluntary products and associated services. Dr. Carmen?
Actually, I think Dr. Phillips has some
Dr. Phillips.
information to share on this.
All right, so this item is not an agenda item, just up for discussion. There was a request made to review our voluntary products, so we just kind of did an overview of all of our employee health care benefits. And as you can see there in the diagram there, the third-party administrator of our health plan is United Healthcare, as well as our healthcare provider there on the left side there. And so we have the opportunity to extend the contract with them for 1 more year. As far as we have heard, there's been no consideration for changing that at this point. So just put that there for information purposes only. Going towards the center of the diagram there, you see that Yvonne Ortegon is our agent of record. And you can see the breakdown there of what fees we face with Ms. Ortegon and their organization. And then there, on the right side of that diagram, you see that our third-party administrator for our voluntary products, the right side contains all the voluntary products, and the third-party administrator is David K. Young. And you can see what we pay out annually to their organization. And then you can see all the voluntary products that we currently offer to our employees throughout the district. So we wanted to just present this to you so you can see it and have an opportunity to review it, and then for consideration, if the board so choose, for Ms. Ortegon and her group to put out a RFP and possibly get some other proposals and some other, give other organizations a chance to present a better opportunity for our employees in terms of cost savings. So the way that process would work is the Ortegon Group would put out the RFP, bring those proposals back to us. As a district, we would then create a committee that would review those and then narrow those down, and then we would bring those recommendations to the board for consideration. So the board could have a good look at what was presented. At this time, Ms. Ortegon is here, and she's available to answer any questions that you all may have.
Is there anything else you want to add, Ms. Ortegon, along to what Dr. Phillips mentioned? And also, I guess, the rationale or why you think this would be a best practice for us?
Yes, just to clarify, the third party, David K. Young, just administers the flexible spending account, which is the medical reimbursement and dependent care reimbursement. And you need a third party administrator.
I think the ladies are asking to go to the mic.
Oh, okay. Hello, members of the board, Dr. Carmen. So David K. Young, as a third-party administrator, what they do is they do streamlined billing, where all the voluntary products, which come from different carriers right now, all of them are most of them are different. That's what the RFP, the request for proposal, will be to look at who your carriers for dental, vision, just each of them specifically, compare the benefits that you currently have with the benefits that are out there now, the newer off-the-shelf type products, and then compare the premiums to see, because these are all employee paid benefits. So it gives them an idea. I do know Mr. Torres had told me, and Ms. Rondona told me that last year you did go out for bid, but the consultant you had, or the person you had that time, recommended to keep everything the same, because I guess the cost to change was more than the value of the savings. So I think I would recommend that for the school district, for the employees, just to do that review again to see, yes. It's your decision, but that could be done again.
Yes, I think one of the issues last year, when we first came on the board, was the disruption, because it was gonna cause, some havoc. I know, if I'm not mistaken, there's also, at one point or another, a consultant that reviews this stuff as well. Would you guys be, how does that work? As far as a consultant coming in and evaluating the whole process, because I know, of course, there was a consultant, and there was another consultant that gave us an overview.
Yes.
So how does that?
Well, Mr. Torres has the history, right, of the consultants in the past? Right. Now, I know that last year you were going out requests for qualifications for agent of record, so you didn't really have an agent of record to do the RFP process. That's why you had the consultant, is my understanding. To review, since you went out for RFP for the TPA for the medical,
Yes.
and you did change that from Blue Cross to UHC last year.
Okay.
The consultant last year just reviewed the voluntary products and health products. They didn't review the qualifications with regard to agents.
Okay.
And the reason why the voluntary product discussion came up is because Carlisle Insurance, if you recall, there were actually some products that they wanted to recommend that were better for our employees, but they ended up recommending that we stay with the current carrier because of the transition process, how close we were to the enrollment date.
Right.
And they did recommend that this year
We take it out.
for us to go out to bid for the voluntary products.
Okay.
But I believe Ms. Ortegon can actually assist with not only putting together the RFP,
certainly up to the board, but I think that makes sense. We have the agent of record now, that we ask her to do so. And then what we should do as a district, as Dr. Phillips indicated, is to include our employees, teachers, paraprofessionals into an insurance committee to review that information with Yvonne, and
Right.
then bring back to the board our recommendation.
I like that.
And because of when we're looking at it, we have the time to do so
Right.
in a timely
And,
fashion.
and this would be on both items, under the health insurance and accidental and dental, or?
Yeah, volunteer.
It would
Just the
just be the voluntary, so
Okay.
everything but the medical insurance.
Here's my concern on all of this, and I've been requesting this for quite a while, and I believe when you came on board, I've been requested this information again. It is my understanding that the agent of record provides us with monthly reports or quarterly reports, correct? Correct?
I was not told that, but I can provide you with that information.
Yeah, and that is one of the items that I'm very concerned about, that we do need some reporting at least on a regular basis. Secondly, the second item that I was always been requesting is a educational component that makes our employees and personnel aware of what options and what benefits are there from the 401K, 403B, 457, and so forth, an IRA. And the reason behind that is that if we go back, and history pretty much dictates that many of our employees have not had that opportunity to identify what they could invest their monies in, or how could they defer their compensation and planning. It's been my argument from the day that I got onto the board, because I think the more knowledge that our personnel have, the better decisions they'll be making. So that is a component that I'm really, really looking for in our next year rollout, because it is imperative that everybody's aware of how they can actually maximize on their gross income. So if you don't mind moving forward on that, Ms. Ortegon, if you could provide us with from my standpoint, quarterly reports would be great. You know, that way it'll give us some sense of where we stand and where our constituency and our personnel stand. Secondly is an in-depth survey about services to our personnel. As other board members mentioned, some, don't say much. Some state a couple of concerns, and nothing to really rise up eyebrows, but I think it's important that we have a sense of understanding or I should say empathy on what our personnel's needs are. And if they say that, that they're not understanding something, at least there's some feedback for them. So I think those three items would be very beneficial for our institution, if you don't mind, and then we can move forward on that.
Mr. Mendez, if I can interject, we had
Yes.
some really rich conversation with Ms. Ortegon, and getting some clarity on what all their organization can provide to us. And we've got some clarity on some of those concerns that you have as it pertains to the 401s, the 403s, the retirement planning. We're going to be really intentional about making sure that our staff has that information in front of them and what their options are. And working with Ms. Ortegon's group, she believes that they can provide that service to us. So we felt real comfortable with them after that conversation. And as far as educating our staff on the benefits that we have available, we had a good conversation around that as well, and feel like the model that we'll use to roll out the benefits plan during the enrollment time this year will allow her and her agents to sit down with our staff and have some in-depth conversation about what's being provided and what options they have. So we had some really good conversation, and we feel like their organization can provide us with what our staff needs at this time.
And I'd just like to add, per the district's request, we do have an agent, one of my staff people that comes here to the central office every Tuesday from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. to assist employees that have questions with claims or need assistance. if they have a disability claim that they need to file or accident claim, if they have any questions regarding their insurance, whether medical or voluntary, and to enroll any new hires that come into the district. So that's done on a weekly basis here on campus, on staff.
Wonderful. One more item.
Yes, sir.
And I don't, because I don't see it here. Pharmacy, RX, is that part of your plan or?
It's part of the medical.
Okay. Oh, the United Healthcare, okay.
Yes.
And I think this would be a conversation with you, Dr. Carmen, on the way it's rolled out. I mean, is it open to all pharmacies, or are they designated to one local or centralized district or region?
Okay.
How does that work?
United Healthcare is the TPA, the third party administrator for the pharmacy. So they have their network of pharmacies. They do have certain networks, especially for specialty drugs, that they do require the employees to use for those specific drugs. But that is something that I can review with them, and I know Mrs. Rondon and I talked about it, because we did want to make sure that what they were providing before, as far as pharmacy benefits, was rolled over for this year as well. And I can get you a report on that.
If you don't mind,
No.
Appreciate that. No further questions, appreciate it.
I want to ask a follow-up question if I can. Mr. Mendez, you asked for monthly or quarterly reports. Can you be a little more specific as to what you would want to see in those reports?
On the quarterly reports, pretty much participation and, in reality, just,
Do you want a claims report where
I know,
we're spending as far as?
exactly,
And a
what,
lag report?
yeah, I mean, I know what, last year or the year before, we had something like a lag report that was not keeping up with our expenditures. Whatever was on that report is what I'd like to see, if you don't mind. He will give you the information. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you,
ma'am,
Ms. Alfaro.
appreciate it. Any more questions? Okay. Let's move on to agenda item number 8, review and discussion of the district wellness program. Dr. Phillips?
Yes, sir. So at the request of the board as well, we were asked and challenged to research some opportunities that we could provide for our staff in the area of wellness. And so Ms. Janet Rodriguez is here as well. We sat down and we kind of collaborated on some different options that we had out there. And with her involvement, we've decided that it's in our best interest to reestablish a overall district wellness program. And within that program, we have some specific things that we would like to do on a regular basis. Starting with the gym membership reimbursement, we would like for the board to consider and approve the reimbursing of employees up to $150 for a one-time annual payout for a gym membership. So the way that would look is if I were coming on board in August to work in the district, and I signed up and got a gym membership, and I held that membership all year long, and then in June, I could prove to the district that I had that membership all year long, then the district would reimburse me for that up to $150 for that membership. We believe that this opportunity would allow our employees to know that that is there for them, and that they would join a gym and actively use that gym, which in turn would create more healthy employees that would miss fewer days of work. So we believe we could recoup that money just by having our staff in classes at work regularly. In order to qualify, the employee must have an active gym membership from the beginning of the school year through the end of the school year and be able to show us proof of that. Minimum of 2 employee wellness activities per semester is part of the wellness program plan as well. Some of those activities may include yoga, a walking club, Zumba, food nutrition, education and awareness. Also, we are looking at hosting one district health fair per semester. During this health fair, we would create an opportunity for employees to get some regular screening, biometric screenings with vital signs, calculate BMI, may possibly do some labs, and just create a overall awareness that we as a district are concerned about our employees' health and wellness. Ms. Rodriguez, you want to step up to the mic and elaborate a little bit?
Good evening, board members and Dr. Carmen. Just to add on to what Dr. Phillips was saying, we feel like the benefit of an employee wellness program would help, of course, our staff be to work, which would also have a positive impact on our students' academic performance. It would decrease employee absenteeism, which would also decrease the employee health care costs and improve overall health of our district staff. Like Dr. Phillips said, some things we were considering was gym membership reimbursement, the wellness activities, and one district health fair per semester with potential vendors, including fitness centers coming out and providing, different exercise advice, hospitals, diabetic educators, preventative services, like our district utilizes UT Mobile Healthcare for our students who are low income or don't have insurance, and they do provide free immunizations, which they could also provide to our staff. Also, we do have in the area a mobile mammogram clinic, which may be able to come out and at least speak to staff about the importance of wellness checks, and then maybe somebody who could talk about cooking, proper cooking, a farmer's market, something like that to teach the staff about proper nutrition. And we previously had personalized prevention for our staff, which came in one time, I believe, and they did the vital signs, the BMI screening, they did a bunch of labs and came back about 3 weeks later and provided all the results and had a nutritionist and a nurse practitioner that went over their labs with them and kind of gave them advice on what they needed to do and gave them an outline of what their dietary plan should be. So I think with the prevalence of diabetes, high blood pressure and stuff, that I think that would be something that would be very useful. And if we have a healthy staff here in San Benito, hopefully that would create kind of a ripple effect to make healthier families and a healthier community for San Benito.
Ms. Rodriguez, I got a question for you.
Yes, sir.
Great presentation, thank you. As far as the health fairs in our district, I've attended a couple. How often are they, how
I'm sorry,
often?
go
No, that's okay. How often are they, I guess, done, number one, number two, and who picks the sites?
We,
how is that
most
worked out?
campuses try to have at least one per year. Some nurses, they do two, like one in the beginning of the school year and one in the second semester. But those are more for the kids, I guess, the kids and the family, and this would be more for our employees. Of course, with activities and different things, we would welcome the children of any employees and the spouses and stuff because it would benefit them as well, but this would be more geared toward our staff members.
Yes, ma'am, that's a great point, because that was my follow-up question, because I know that, the health fairs, they go through hygiene and they do, all that dental hygiene stuff for the kids and so on and so forth. So this would cater more towards the adults?
Yes, sir.
Or staff? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Great, thank you.
I'm not sure this is a question for you or for Ms. Ortegon.
Okay.
Does United Healthcare provide the biometric screening, just not on site right now? Isn't that part of our,
They said they do provide it, but I don't know if there's a fee for that. I know they said that there wasn't an additional wellness component aside from what's already required with your insurance, where they would provide wellness screening once a year and everything would be covered at 100%. But I did ask that question to them, and I can follow up to see. They did mention the biometric screening, but I have to confirm whether or not it's at a cost.
And I did reach out to the representative that we have, that Janie, our health insurance lady in the HR department, gave me. So I contacted her, and she said that she would get back with me in the morning as far as what they can and cannot provide to us. Of course, our preference would be that it would be free to the employee, because we don't want them to have to pay any additional out-of-pocket costs. But she said that she would look into what our plan covers, I guess, and then get back to me on what we'd be able to do.
All right, thank you, Mr. Rodriguez. And the reason why there's such a push for this, because, since we came on the board, there was a huge push for the wellness, first and foremost. And secondly, there was a big push for, and of course, I guess, as far as the insurance is concerned, a lot of, back, about a year ago, there was a lot of concerns, the way the process was taken care of and handled. Since we went, recently with Ms. Ortega, I haven't got any concerns, nor issues. So it's going a lot smoother, and I know we're providing, better coverage and more affordable healthcare for our staff.
Yes, sir.
So this whole transition and going into the wellness is something that we've been wanting to push as a board for a while now. So, but thanks for your, thanks
Yes,
for the
sir.
presentation.
Yes, sir.
And thank you, Dr. Phillips, appreciate it.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you.
Thank you.
Just as a quick note, on that free biometric that we had in the past, it's free to the employee because they don't pay any out-of-pocket or co-pay up front. They bill the district, and since we pay all the claims, it's a cost to the district. So that's kind of the way it works. It's like the same thing as when you do get the flu shot and the immunizations, but the employee doesn't have to front any money. They just bill it to us at the end. But if I recall, that was part of the agreement that we had in having the biometric wellness program. We did have that
So
conversation
again,
with
that way
United.
It would be a claim filed to the district, but it wouldn't be a copay or any cost to the employees.
Correct.
Any more questions? All right. Thank you, Ms. Ortega. Appreciate it. Thank you, Ms. Ruiz. Let's move on to agenda item number 9, review and discussion on incentives for early retirement / resignations.
Yes, sir. What we would like for the board to consider with this, and this, if approved, would require resolution at some point, the next board meeting. What we would like for the board to consider is initiating a early notification of resignation or retirement that is approved with some requirements. So what you have before you is a document that details this plan. And I'm not going to read it all to you. I'll just give it to you in a nutshell. So basically what we're looking at is allowing 20 employees, the first 20 employees who are willing to notify us that they are resigning or retiring, to allow them to receive an incentive of $1,500 for notifying us early. We believe that if we are allowed to offer this incentive, it will give us the opportunity to take care of some of our teachers that are staying here. Specifically in mind, the teachers at Landrum and the teachers at Dr. Garza STEAM Academy who do not wish to stay at that campus. So what this will do is allow us to begin to place displaced teachers sooner so that we can lower their anxiety about where they're going to be next year. We feel like offering this incentive will allow us the time to put people in a specific place and also allow us the time to recruit top talent of open positions that are still remaining, with enough time to have the pick of the litter, for lack of a better way of saying that. We understand that when you get into June, mid-June, July, the best teachers are already employed. So we feel like this early notification incentive will allow us to be able to get in front of hiring and filling open positions without waiting to the last minute. There are some specific requirements to this incentive. They must finish their contract out for the 17-18 school year. They must have work my way through here. an evaluation done by their supervisor or principal. Of course, that's everybody. But we are being real intentional about it being professionals. And we're just looking at professional staff for this incentive. We are being real intentional about a timeline and saying that they must come into human resources and deliver their document so that we can confirm receipt of that document and keep good documentation of who the first 20 are. So then the question as we're discussing this comes up to, what if I've already resigned, or what if I've already notified you that I plan to retire? So we asked the board, if you are to approve this, to also allow us to go back and be retroactive with those that have already notified us and allow them to take part in this incentive, but not count as part of the 20, because they notified us even before this incentive was in place, if approved.
Dr. Phillips, do you have a ballpark number of how many individuals are at that point of retirement?
So for this year, we've had 8 people notify us so far that they plan to retire from the district.
Let me rephrase the question. Do you have an idea of how many individuals are at that bracket of retirement, that they're eligible for retirement?
That they're eligible for retirement? I did get a report that told me of all the teachers that are eligible, there's quite a few. I mean, 40 plus are eligible for retirement. You know, we don't ever want to come across like we're trying to force someone into that position, but if they're considering it and you take into account DEC local that's already in place that allows the district or says that the district will pay up to 30 days of local, state and local time at $150 a day. So an employee that has 30 days and would like to cash in those 30 days could receive that $4,500 in addition to this $1,500. So if they decided to retire, they could walk out with an incentive of $6,000 and go enjoy the beach. So it allows us the opportunity to seek out replacements sooner.
Two more questions, and the next question is, are retiree hire individuals eligible for this?
Well, they're current employees, so I don't see how we could exclude them from this. Yes.
The other one is not a question, but a recommendation. I'd say you increase it to 2,000 versus 1,500.
Okay. The only thing I would say to that is keep in mind that this initiative was not budgeted this school year, so you just have to take that into consideration.
But it's only for 20 people, right? 20 individuals, that's 40,000.
Yes, sir.
Okay, yeah. That's why I recommend 2,000.
Mr. Phillips, in reference to the rehired and retired, I think they already invested their time and they got a lump sum, and I don't think they should be considered in this drop. Personally, that's me.
It is my law. But I guess that's a legal question, because you can't exclude them, correct? Okay.
Yeah. But if they're rehired from another district?
It's not our, no.
Oh, then it's not, then they're not eligible.
Yeah, in terms of the DEC local, they would not qualify for that. There's some specific stipulations to that they must have been in the district for a minimum of 10 years before they qualify for that.
Oh, okay. Nombre todo, all that we have. Well, Dr. Phillips, I think it's a great rollout plan, honestly. I think it's just to give us a little edge on trying to, hire a lot sooner. Because yes, it is kind of taxing to wait till the last minute, and, we're trying to find, employees, and, it's pretty taxing. So I think the incentive is great,
This is an agenda item.
okay. Yes, I'm gonna want to put on the agenda item.
Yes.
Thank you.
With the revisions or without the revision?
Just
I'll
as is.
I'll throw it out there on,
As is is fine.
on the day of voting.
Thank you.
Is it only for teachers? That's what it says.
Yes, it is for teachers.
Teachers only,
As the way we are
teachers.
recommending it, yes, just for teachers.
No deans, no principals?
Why not administrators?
Well, we initially had that conversation that we would include administrators in this, and it's completely up to the board. We can revise this and make it be whatever we think is appropriate.
I believe just for the sake of fairness, I think it should be open to everyone, not just teachers. I'd say everybody should be allowed
And I
for
can
that.
share part of our conversation, why we ended up recommending teachers, diagnosticians, nurses, counselors, and librarians. We don't have any shortage of applicants for administration at all. Those other areas, however, we do run into shortages many times when we post those positions. And in trying to be good stewards of our taxpayers' money, we wanted to limit it. That's why we came up with the number 20 to be reasonable. And if we focus on those areas where we have the most trouble hiring people, we thought that would get the most bang for our buck out of it. Certainly, if the board wants to consider adding in administrators, whether it's school administrators or central office administrators, that's your prerogative. But we were simply trying to spend
Teachers.
those 20 slots on some of the areas that are the hardest for us to fill. And I would say to the board that if you want to include additional positions, that we possibly look at more than 20 slots so that we're not missing our goal or our intention.
Teachers only.
So we're gonna go ahead and go with the recommendation, board approve?
Yes.
I mean, agenda item?
Yes.
Sorry. Let's move on to agenda item number 10, review and discussion of incentive on teacher performance. Dr. Phillips?
Okay. So I say this at every campus I go to and have conversations with teachers, and I said it the other day with the Chamber of Commerce. It is a great time to be in San Benito CISD. And I will continue to say this because it is, especially if you're a teacher in this district and you have a passion for kids and you want students to be successful. This is a great time to be a part of this district. And part of the momentum that we have going and the excitement that we have going is creating opportunities for our teachers to display their talents and then be rewarded for those talents. And so this next item here is definitely an agenda item. It's an opportunity for us as a district to propose an incentive program that is a pay structure that will compensate classroom educators for their commitment and dedication to the district. The program's tied to student academic performance, aimed at boosting student success, as well as improving teacher retention and morale. So what we're looking at here is allowing teachers who showcase their talents by having their students perform at or above state average to be incentivized. So, for example, if you have a third grade reading teacher at Ed Downs Elementary, and this teacher gets her students to perform at grade level or above grade level, we want to be able to incentivize that teacher and offer that teacher $1,000. In addition, if this teacher is working in collaboration with other teachers throughout the district, which our PLCs are designed to help us allow teachers to do, if the district as a whole were to score at or above state average, then the third grade teachers as a whole throughout the district could be incentivized $1,000. So this gives the teacher an opportunity to earn $2,000 extra on top of their base salary based on their students' performance.
Dr. Phillips, can I back you up just a second there?
Yes, sir.
What we're proposing is that if the campus, so if the third grade reading scores for that campus were above, all the third grade reading teachers would get that $1,000. So again, we're encouraging them to work with one another within their department. And then the second part would be district-wide. We're not gonna give one teacher that $1,000. We want them pulling their whole team together, getting our students to be successful, and we would then pay that out. And for a self-contained third grade teacher, for example, they have reading and math. So if they can work with their department and get their scores above state average on both, they get $2,000. And then if they or as a district, we pull together, and third grade reading and math for the district are above, a third grade teacher could yield $4,000 in incentives if our students are being successful.
Wow. No, pues wow.
So,
I enjoy.
well, I mean, it's not in writing, that means it doesn't exist. A teacher is tested in an area can earn up to $2,000, so that's the $1,000 that you're talking about?
That's correct. 1,000 per subject for the campus scores, 1,000 per subject for the district scores.
Okay.
But there will be some self-contained that have
Right.
multiple tests.
Okay.
Third grade, some fourth grade.
Interesting.
Sorry, Dr. Phillips, sorry, I cut you off there.
That's okay. Thanks for the clarification. And so, you know, research says that the most important factor for student achievement is the teacher in the classroom. And while we agree with that, we understand that no campus moves without the correct leadership. And so we also want to be able to incentivize and recognize our campus leadership for their hard work as well. And so we've included in this proposal that campus principals can earn up to $500 per distinction, and that assistant principals or deans could earn up to $250 per distinction. Also, we understand the importance of the climate and culture and how some kids, they don't come to school to do math, reading, science, and social studies. They come to school because they love PE, they love art, they love music, and that's what drives them to do well in their core classes. So we want to be able to incentivize and recognize those teachers as well for their contributions to the campus success. So we included in here that if you are a teacher in a non-tested area, that you could earn up to $500 if your campus performed at or above state level in all tested areas. So we'd like for the board to consider this. It is, I believe, based on the research that I've done, like no other district is doing here in the Valley, by offering teachers the opportunity to work your way towards higher pay. San Benito CISD would like to reward the teachers and campus administrators whose students perform at or above state averages. This program in nature allows us to truly celebrate the accomplishments in the classroom. It will also allow us to set the gold standard with our staff, our students, parents, and the community as a whole.
Thank you, Dr. Phillips. I like the idea. You know, one of the things that I was just sharing with President Vargas is that the information is condensed. So I'm hoping that it will be spelled out specifically to how the incentives will be laid out, correct?
Yes, sir, and this, once approved, if you guys approve this, that's the fun part in terms of really using it to recruit better talent and retain our best talent here in the district. And that's the marketing piece that we will be real specific about and real intentional about when we present this to staff, that they are real clear on what they need to do to earn the extra funding, and also real clear on the intent is to increase collaboration throughout the district so that we don't have pockets of excellence at some schools, but we have pockets of excellence throughout all of our schools.
I like that. Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you, Doctor.
Agenda item? Agenda item, Dr. Phillips, thank you. Let's move on to agenda item number 11, a review and discussion to accept the financial literacy grant. Dr. Carmen?
We are asking the board to approve accepting the University of Texas, RGV, the financial literacy grant in the amount of $1,500. UTB offered a financial literacy challenge, which offered a grant, and we had a high school teacher, Ms. Pettis, applied for a grant and was awarded the monies. Those funds will be utilized to purchase resource material to be used by students, cover cost of substitute teacher if applicable, cost of meals, travel expenses to the university or event site, and students in the Money Matters class at San Benito High School will be part of the selected students to participate in this activity.
Agenda item? Okay, let's move on to agenda item number 12. Committee concerns? No concern? All right. Let's move on to agenda item number 13, adjournment, and it's 8:36. Thank you all for coming.